I'm Tyler Boronski. I'm with Bryan Hoover of the Lancaster Barnstormers. Now, Bryan, first of all, I just want to thank you for coming on, chatting a little bit about your story.
Thanks, I really appreciate it. It'll be fun.
Absolutely. Now, you're in your third year of professional baseball. You played high school baseball, you played at the collegiate level, but the only difference is collegiate ball for you was back in 1996, leaving you in 19 years without playing competitively. I'm sure baseball is something you always want to maybe try pursuing again, but what really sparked your desire to, come out to these open tryouts and train really hard to hopefully make this a reality for you?
Yeah, I didn't know if I would ever do anything with baseball again. Obviously, a long time had passed. It really started with my dad had some health issues, and I started thinking about, I probably should take better care of myself. And so I was like, I'll start trying to eat a little better, And I thought, if I have to do this and that, I'm thinking, man, that's a sacrifice, and I really want to eat that or whatever, that kind of thing. And I was thinking, well, maybe I should just go all out and just see what the best shape I can get in is. So I just said, what, for a little while at least, I'm just gonna go for this thing. And then one thing led to another. I was playing that year, just men's league around Atlanta, and I just started kind of wondering, it's like if I was in shape and could actually run like fully and got my speed back, how fun would it be, or how competitive could I get again? And I didn't, who knows, right?
Yeah.
And most people, would think, well, you're never gonna be what you once could be. I don't know, because I quit a little bit early, and the reason for that was I just felt like God wanted me to do something different, and just gave me a heart and a passion to do different things. And so I went that route. And when I was 37, all this other stuff took place with my dad, and one thing led to another. And I thought, I'll get in shape, at least be prepared and ready, and go to some tryouts. Didn't really know the details of it. Didn't even know what indie ball was at the time when I first started training. Like I didn't know. Like I didn't realize what all was out there. Sure. And so when I finally put my head down and decided to do it, I had a chance to meet Marquise Grissom, Hall of Famer, and so he, World Series champion, and he's the one that referred me. He said, I think you should look into indie ball, just because the dynamics of the game and my age, all the years that had passed. And he said, then you can kind of see, where you stand and go from there. And so that's kind of how we started.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, you spoke on your training regimen a little bit. Can you specifically maybe get into some of the changes you had to make both in your physical workouts as well as your diet to hopefully help develop you as a person?
Right. So I went to the internet, started trying to learn as much as I could about eating better and what was good for me, and all that, and asking people who knew more than I did. I never really had to try to lose weight, and it's kind of, difficult when you really start. Even if it's 5 pounds, it's like I got to really control, things and balance things and how much calorie intake and all that. So I just wanted to trim up a little bit that year, because I knew, like, I'm not a big guy, so I got to run. It don't matter how old I am, I still have to run. And so so I started with that, and training was, I think the biggest thing for me was just challenging myself if I could get my legs under me and my, get my wheels back, so to speak. And so the funny thing is I would put my kids down at night throughout the fall and winter, even when it got down to 28 degrees, put them down for bed and hit out in the streets in my neighborhood and mark off different links for running sprints, and just pace myself like every other day or every third day. And just work on that sprinting deal. And that was one of the things that I started with. And of course, that's not necessarily baseball specific, like a tool. It is a tool, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not baseball only specific. So that's just something I just felt like I had to challenge myself with. And so, nobody loves, I don't go out and run. That's kind of thing. I don't just to run and run sprints at that. So, but I had to go force myself. Yeah,
absolutely. And you spoke earlier about some open tryouts you had to do. Your story's full of persistence and just never giving up. Can you give the fans a better view, just like how many open tryouts you've attended, and what still kept you motivated even when they didn't say yes originally?
I tried to take away from each person who gave me some advice, but that first year, I went to 10 tryouts all over, and one was here in Bridgeport, and it was just that thing, it was like this gap of time Obviously, it had been a while. You're trying to compete for a spot with guys who are former big leaguers, AAA, AA guys. So being polished up, at that point, you're not quite there. And the one thing I had to kind of respect is the grind and going and playing wherever I could play and learning all I could learn and having the time to get in the box and get at bats. But yeah, it was 10 tryouts, and I kept going because I didn't know any better, really. I was like, I didn't know any better, and I didn't want to give up. I didn't want to quit just because, this team couldn't use me or utilize me. And so I kept going, and I was going to commit that first year to at least put myself out there as much as possible. And at the 10th one, somebody gave me a shot and said, I can't promise you anything. It might be a week, might be 2, who knows. And so I just took it in, as I joined the team. And we had a teammate who got called up to York to play. And so I think his first game was actually here.
Really?
Back in 15. And so I got a chance to get in and play around the infield, and it stuck for about 20 games. At the end of the season, got 20 games at third base that year, and hit okay, 270, So just wanted to keep going and being involved as much as I could and get better and just see what I could do. It was really challenging myself, What can you do? I don't know. And if you don't work at it and don't try, you never know. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to do. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now that first year was with the Road City Explorers.
Correct.
And then you played in a couple other indie leagues the last couple of years, and then you finally reached the Atlantic League. And the Atlantic League, they really focus on giving guys that work hard, that deserve a shot, they give them that opportunity that you've been working so hard for. How did this whole situation with Lancaster come about, just the whole process of getting here and joining the Barnstormer family?
Yeah, so I played in 15, and then I had a whole season last year in 16 that I got to play, and had a great first half, and the second half wasn't as like I would hoped. And so what I ended up really kind of coming back to after thinking, man, it ended in a nightmare because it didn't go like I wanted it to. You always expect more out of yourself. Sure. And so, but I just thought, that's part of the process. It's part of learning and part of getting better. And so coming to Lancaster was really, really interesting because I connected with Ross just briefly back in December and January. And the reason was he was a Faith guy and he was from Georgia. And so I was like, I want to hook up with him and just, learn and get to know him and go from there. But he had moved to Lancaster.
Oh, really?
And so 2 years ago. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just, continue to try to stay in touch as much as possible and just, try to build a relationship. This year, I decided to show up at their workout, so at least they could put eyes on me and go from there as well. And so I ended up going to Kentucky and playing in a thoroughbred league this year. And all year long, my goal was stay consistent, and had a good year there. And the consistency was better than last year, having a big up and kind of a down. This year it was more consistent. So I watched the transactions, honestly, with Lancaster, and I kept seeing them selling guys. And I'm like, man, a lot of these guys are moving forward. And I just felt it in my gut to just, when we got done, just head out here and just be here. And I begged my wife. I said, babe, I just feel in my gut I need to go. And for about 2.5 weeks and just see what things might come up. Just having a few relationships with managers and coaches in the league. And so I came on a Sunday, and on a Tuesday, Rico Noel, another infielder, was sold, and I was just sitting there at Starbucks like, you got to be kidding me. I got to go to the stadium now and at least let Ross know I'm here and that I came here to be available to help. And so I got to work out with the team, and he knew a little bit of my background and had talked to a few people as well, and gave me a shot. So gave me a chance to play. So I want to help this team any way I can with depth and to go win a championship. It'd be awesome.
That is
keep
awesome.
them rolling.
Absolutely, that's awesome. Now, we spoke on earlier, you mentioned the Atlantic League, a lot of former big leaguers in this league. You guys have a ton, and then just the team you just faced, the Sugarland Skaters, they have a ton. I mean, your first at bat was against Dustin Richardson, who's in the big leagues with the Boston Red Sox. Just first off, how has the team embraced you, into the clubhouse? Just what some of the conversations are like, and have you had a moment yet where you just step back and you're like, Hey, I've heard that guy's name in the big leagues before. That's pretty cool. I'm on the same field as him.
Right. Yeah, like I'm not a big guy for keeping up with names necessarily and remembering all the names, but yeah, just the guys really just encouraged me, and made me feel welcome. It was really, really awesome. You never know what to expect,
Yeah.
and the energy's good. It's been a lot of fun, and so the clubhouse atmosphere is great. Being able to just get there and step back. Really, the biggest thing is just going, like, half of my team former major leaguers, and then half of them were like one step away, in AAA, and then there's me, and just trying to take it in and learn and enjoy it, and just realizing, because I like I said, when I went up to bat for my first at bat, I didn't know names. I'm just like,
exactly.
just don't miss, So as I'm learning more their stories and their backgrounds, it is kind of like, man, wow, it's pretty neat. It's an honor. So
Awesome.
I'm thrilled.
Awesome. Final question for you, Bryan. I know you've been pursuing this dream for a while now, and this wouldn't be even possible if your family and your wife, your 3 children weren't supporting you. Can you speak on how special it is for them to see you, succeeding in pursuing your dream, and just what the whole process has been like for them experiencing this whole professional baseball experience?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. There's no way. And most wives probably would never allow their husband to do something as crazy as I've done. And because it seems like, it's a kid's game, and why would somebody in my situation do that? Everybody's journey in this life is unique.
Yeah.
And it's something I definitely had to have an agreement with my wife and ask her blessing on, and it's been hard, really. Not knowing, is it worth the time, the energy, the sacrifice, and my kids. I really just want them to know that if God gives you a passion and a gift to do something, at least go out and pursue it to see what it can become.
Sure.
None of us know exactly to what degree that's going to be. And so I had, other things I felt like I needed to do early in my life. And I feel like God's really just given me a blessing. The best way I describe it is icing on the cake, as to being able to come back and play for a little while before I am too old. And so, my wife, there's no way I would without her support and her love for me. And so it's been awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Bryan. We're wishing you the best with Barnstormers.
All right,
Thank you,
it.
brother.